Okay, you might have heard by now that Jimmy Kimmel was canceled by ABC indefinitely because of pressure. Let's just put a really sharp point on this. Pressure by the United States government from the President of the United States, who tweeted, fired Jimmy Kimmel, and the FCC chair, who said there would be considerable actions taken against ABC, potentially even changing or taking away their license if they didn't do something about Jimmy Kimmel. And this clip is so vanilla. It's just crazy that this is happening. Now, I want to tell you to do this. If you are subscribed to Disney Plus, my hope is that you unsubscribe, you stop paying. Now, if you are paying for Hulu, unsubscribe, stop paying, cancel your Hulu and Disney Plus accounts. Stop going to Marvel movies. Stop seeing Disney films. Stop going to Disney World. Because the only way this stuff stops is if we show them there is an equal but opposite reaction to not standing up to this authoritarian government.
The fascists are here. They are flexing their muscle. And you guys, it is far worse than the mainstream media is letting on. This is coercion. This is coordination with the oligarchy and this fascist regime that is headed up by an incompetent idiot, a total moron. Lock in, buckle up, buttercups. We cannot lose our country and our right to free speech, to free expression. And we cannot lose our comedians because a demented 80-year-old man who lies about his height, lies about his weight, has to wear a shit ton of makeup, the biggest fraud on the planet. We're going to lose our country to that. This is fascism. This is not cancel culture. What happened to Jimmy Kimmel will continue and continue and continue. They are moving the goalposts and they will not stop.
This isn't about whether or not you like Jimmy Kimmel. This isn't about whether you agree with what he has to say. This is about government censorship. And the fact that it can happen this quickly to someone like Jimmy Kimmel means it could literally happen to anyone. And we should all be speaking out and pushing back because this is fucking terrifying. Please make sure you're following me, and not just on one platform, but across the board, because if you don't, you may never see me again. Who knows?
Liberals are not angry that you are upset that someone passed away the way that they did. We are upset that this is the first time that you are showing outrage and sadness. We are upset that you didn't show sadness or outrage for Melissa Hortman 12 weeks ago when she was murdered alongside her husband and her dog. We are upset that you are not showing sadness and rage every single time there is a school shooting and innocent children are being shot day after day, year after year with no change. We are upset that you have more empathy for a man who built his entire career oppressing anybody who wasn't a straight white American. We are upset because if you are filled with more sadness and rage about what happened to Charlie than you were about Melissa, or you have about all of the hundreds and thousands of innocent children being killed every single day due to gun violence. It's because you relate more to a racist, sexist, homophobic, fascist man than you do to any other person in America.
So Charlie Kirk's shooter was exactly what all the other shooters have been. A straight white man coming from a cop family, a conservative religious family. They, the right wanted it to be so badly some sort of like immigrant or black person or person of color. And patterns be patterning. It's once again the same pattern as always. And now the right is crumbling on themselves because they're like, well, what do we do? It's not a trans person, which was their other freaking thing that the Wall Street Journal should fucking be punished for spinning that lie. But I just sat here like, you literally can't make this up.
And just a quick reminder, Charlie Kirk is still a prick. Pop this up.
This is something that I hope will make Taylor Swift more conservative. Engage in reality more and get outside of the abstract clouds. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge.
This is the type of stuff that happens in the right wing. And this is why I encourage every single parent out there, it is your responsibility to ensure that you don't raise misogynists. That comes from the home. And these emotionally stunted people in the right wing, they're probably raised by toxic, broken people, and it continues generationally. It is so important that when you raise your sons in particular, that you raise them to be feminists, because that truly is a sign of strength.
I lost it today. I told you I'm not letting this go. I'm not letting this go. I'm pissed. Woosah. I was at the grocery store, Safeway. I ain't got that Whole Food money. Anyway, I'm in the line at Safeway, and this guy's being a real prat to the cashier. What you see from time to time, I'll usually try to make him uncomfortable, but this guy's wearing one of the ultra MAGA hats. You know the ones? He couldn't be that much older than me, quite frankly. I've noticed a lot of Gen Xers just who are part of the Red Hat Brigade just look like shit. Anyway, he goes to pay for his food, his Diet Coke, Doritos, and guess what he pulls out of his wallet? An Oregon Trail card. Now, anybody from Oregon knows what an Oregon Trail card is. Boy, oh boy, if that's not food assistance, Ultra MAGA. And I would say, I have never done this in my life. I lit that man up.
I completely understand. It's actually kind of justified, right? Like, it's how hypocritical can you be? You wearing the hat and everything, and I'm not saying to do this in every single situation. It's not what I'm saying. However, like, seriously, most people within the MAGA whole movement, they don't really understand the policies. They just vote to hate other people within the world. Like, I see that over and over again, and it's so frustrating to see.
You know what we're really talking about here, I would submit, is that this administration has planned quite successfully the idea of throwing a blanket of intimidation across the voices and the movements and like the Ford Foundations of this country, just to intimidate them from going any further with what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're involved with, what their political beliefs are. That's where we are. The Jimmy Kimmel situation is a perfect example of it. What he said was, he could have said something more sensible, and I'm sure in retrospect he would have redrawn or rewritten what he did. But every American household with a television set, that television set comes with an automatic censure thing. It's called a remote control. Right. If you don't like what you're hearing or what you're watching or the person presenting it, you change the channel. Instead, they want to change the philosophy of the country.
You know you live in a racist nation when a black athlete can't kneel for the national anthem, but they will hold a moment of silence for a white supremacist.
Well, I'm gonna say a few things gonna make MAGA really pissed. So let's get into it. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Yeah, I hope it's better. I really do. Except for you, MAGA. Look, I'm gonna say it. The way Charlie Kirk died was awful. That political violence is bullshit. It really is. But the only thing that was almost as bad as that is the way Charlie Kirk lived his life. He was a bigot, he was a misogynist, and I will never back off saying it, no matter how many hissy fits MAGA has or how many people they try to get fired. I don't give a shit. Charlie Kirk was an asshole. He really was. And it's not just that. The guy that killed Charlie Kirk, y'all are pulling the same shit that you tried to pull on January 7th. You tried to say from January 7th, right after the January 6th riots that y'all engaged in, the attempted coup y'all engaged in, for a full week or two after that. Go look at your social media, MAGA. What do you say? Oh, they were Democrats at the Capitol. Yeah, we didn't fucking forget. We didn't forget. It's the same shit you're trying to do now. Little white boy raised in Utah by ultra MAGA parents his whole life. His whole life. And you want to say that because he spent a semester at Utah State that bastion of wokedom, Utah State. I mean, hell, it's worse than Berkeley. What a joke. That he suddenly became a liberal? No. He was gun-toting MAGA freak. And every psychologist will tell you it's the parents. It's always the parents. It's always the parents. You know, go back and look at it. His grandma ran to a microphone to pronounce that everybody in that family is MAGA. No. And you're trying to say, well, he was gay and that made him liberal. Folks, y'all MAGA folks crash grinder every time you have a Republican convention. If you look at the states that search for transgender porn the most, they're all red states. All of them. You people have a closet problem. And no, this guy, if he turns out to be gay, we're going to find out. There's going to be a trial. We're going to find out. If it turns out that he was gay or it's anything like that, has nothing to do with it. Dick don't make you murder people. No, it's his upbringing. It's you people. Just like the last shooter and the one before that.